Oh yeah, they don't let me have the microphone ever, so this is a serious problem.
Hey there, this is Andrew Hogue from the Riff Crew. Coming up on The Realm, we chat with the mighty Gene Hoglan, and Tim and Simon from Abramelin also join us. And we'll also be bringing you lots of riffs. Welcome back, episode number 2 on the Riff Crew. Of course, I'm your host, Andrew Hogue, and Stephen Mitchell.
It's great to be back. I thought I'd go with the Dave Lombardo look, you know, the backwards hat,
Yeah.
the thin wispy beard, mate, and the elite drumming skills. I just need a little bit of work on that last one. You don't know anyone who could help me with that, could you?
I just hit up Lombardo.
Who else could you hit up, though, mate?
Exactly, because he is Lombardo. But we're not talking about Dave Lombardo. We're talking about one of the greatest drummers in the history of heavy metal, my good friend, Gene Hoglan. Welcome to the program.
What's happening, everybody? How you guys doing? Good to see you, Andrew. Good to see you, Steve, man. How are you? I saw where you were going with that, Steve, and I knew what you were talking about. Andrew's not picking that up. I did.
I know, mate. He's a bit slow, but, you know, I work with it. Yeah.
I don't think so.
But he's pretty.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. So how's things in your world? I know that, always forever busy. I don't think any lockdown's ever going to hold the Hoglan down. You're doing some Twitch,
No way, man.
live streaming. And again, it's great that, you've always been ahead of the curve for a lot of people, always adapting to the new technologies. And I think that's what's forcing a lot of other artists now to, I guess some of them are scrambling to readapt. So... But it just seems like business as usual in the world of Gene Hoglan.
That's fun. Well, I tell you, there is a little bit of adaptation happening. We're all trying to figure out how to just keep it all rolling while we're on this, global lockdown sort of thing. At least we feel like it's global here in California. But, I think I've been hearing where maybe Australia, you guys aren't quite as savage with the lockdown as we are here, or were you?
We're probably the same, actually. Yeah, it's
okay.
It's definitely. Some of the borders are closed. We've got no domestic flights, no international flights. They said for the foreseeable future, which is a real drag because I'm just dying to get out of here.
Yeah, man, no doubt. Well, that's definitely the way it is here at the moment. It seems like we have a few domestic flights, but in terms of we're all supposed to be on the road right now. Testament's supposed to be, kind of coming towards the last stretch of the U.S. tour that we had going with Black Dahlia Murder and Municipal Waste, and we had to just set that one aside like everybody else. And I think everybody's just kind of waiting from Live Nation. Wait until we get the thumbs up from Live Nation, and Testament loves touring, so I'm sure Testament will be one of the first ones out of the gate when it's time to hit the road again. We're all kind of chomping at the bit, waiting for that to happen.
Now, we did actually chat with Chuck recently, and obviously you were lucky to be, getting away unscathed from any sort of COVID illness. And we did talk about the fact that it might be well over a year before live shows return to some normality. We kind of hope not, but that's what we're hearing from various reports. Obviously, you've got plenty of other options to keep yourself busy. But what's the one thing you are missing about live shows? It's definitely way different, as we know, than playing on a stream. But what is the one thing that you're missing right now as far as performing live?
The actual performing live. We don't get to do that at the moment. And granted, we are all working musicians, so income has been completely shut down. So that's that. But I love touring. I love playing live. I love all the aspects of touring. It's the only thing I've ever known in my entire life. Like I don't have the kind of the history of, I had a day job forever, and then my band took off, and now I've been on the road. I've been on the road since I was 16. It's the only life that I know, essentially. So that's, you know, and I'm pretty malleable. I can adapt to whatever, you know. If I'm told, look, we can't go do anything right now, Gene, you got to figure out what you got to do to keep income flowing, and you know, because that's you know, besides the touring aspect, I mean, the economical impact of not being able to hit the road, we all feel that, you know, everybody feels that. So that's our thing, you know. Right now, it's that's the biggest challenge, is just, you know, there's no income, but what can you do? You know, that's why I'm doing Twitch and things like that, and I'm just doing a bunch of these playthroughs because it keeps my chops up, keeps me busy. Laura and I are down here jamming our stuff, you know, a whole bunch during the week, and I've got the time to do all this. But, you know, that's it. It's odd, obviously, you know, standing in a line at your Trader Joe's to get in. That's weird, and kind of throws your whole schedule off. You know, I'm busier now than I am under normal circumstances. Like, say, a lot of times Testament will tour, and there'll be, like, say, a 2 or 3 week gap, maybe 10 days, sometimes a week sort of thing. And you take care of your biz while you can. But, you know, I got my biz taken care of. You know, I got to do my taxes. But, you know, I'm just busier than hell right now. You know, I'm on a constant run. There's like a lot of people like, oh, well, I'm just going to sit back and drink some wine and eat some macaroni and cheese every day. God, that ain't me, you know. But that's one nice thing about this, is like, I like being at home because I really get healthy at home. I've, since that Bay Strikes Back tour, the European one that we did with Exodus and Death Angel, since that tour, I have lost 21 more pounds. Wow. So I am in the 240s. I'm not sure kilograms. You guys do pounds or kilos?
Kilos.
Nah, man. Well, whatever 247 is, I don't know, what's that, about 110 kilos or something, 120, something like that.
Lean but Gene machine.
Time, yeah, darn tootin'. Lean Hoglan, man. I'm Gene Slimmons.
What are your secrets? I've put on weight since I've been working from home. I've gone in the wrong direction. Tell us the secrets.
There's no super knowledge behind it. It's just I eat really well when I'm at home, and granted, on the road, that's when you're getting the after show pizza or the after show shawarma or the after show cheeseburger kind of thing, and you know, it's never the best thing for you at 1 a.m. in the morning before you're hitting the bunk. But you know, and I don't have the best discipline when it comes to on the road eating. I got great discipline in other areas. You know, I quit drinking years ago, and you know, I'm you know, that kind of health regimen is already ingrained in my system now. It's like, just keep moving forward. But like my eating per day, I get into a rhythm and I stick with it. I like, for breakfast, I'll just make a little egg sandwich, you know, little fried egg sandwich with avocado, and then I eat a salad at night, you know, pretty much on a nightly basis. I ate breakfast today at about noon. I get up around 11-ish and ate breakfast at noon. It's 8 something now, and I feel good. You know, we'll be chatting here for a couple hours. I won't eat my salad until probably 10 o'clock at night or something like that, and I'm okay with that. I can just keep on rolling all day. I do drink a lot of superfood. You know, I got my superfood handy here, man. This is the superfood I've been eating a lot lately. Lit, you know, this is from High on Life Superfood, and I dig it. This is my action, so that's pretty cool. You can check out highonlifesuperfoods.com, and that's pretty happening. But take some of that stuff, and it just gives you lots of energy. It's like, kind of like, it's not really a meal replacement at all. It's just something to just keep you rolling. You know, like a cup of coffee or something. You know, I drink coffee in the morning. I never used to, but that sure seems to keep me zooming. And have a little superfood sometime at some point during the day. But that's the thing. If you could get out and walk, Steve, that's a good thing, you know. Like I was trying that. That's why I said, screw it. I'm gonna get down to the studio because I utilize drums as cardio, a massive, massive like part of my entire workout routine there, regimen, I guess. But you know, you cannot beat the cardio of high speed double bass hauling drums on a pretty daily basis. You can't beat that, you know. I'm taking a nice leisurely walk around the neighborhood. That doesn't work for me. Even when I'm at the gym and I'm on the treadmill for like 20 minutes, that's not nowhere near the impact of cardio of playing drums. So I'm very fortunate that I have that option. A lot of people don't, you know. It's like you're on lockdown, you can't go to the gym, you can't go to your rehearsal space, your drums aren't set up or whatever. I'm fortunate that this is the only place I go. This and our 3 little grocery stores that we hit. This is it. You know, I've been to Target a couple of times, Walmart once, but this is all I go to, you know. It's like they've got California under this uber duber lockdown. So I've figured the best way for me is just get down here, and that's why I joined Twitch. It's like, why not just jam, let people be the fly on the walls, connect with people in ways that you can't at the moment because you're not on tour. So, you know, you just keep everything rolling as best as you can. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, Steve, if you got some drums to play them as much as you can. That's going to help. Andrew knows about that.
Yeah, do what I got to do.
No, I've only got a few guitars, so there's less cardio involved in that. Especially with headbanging, there's not much, calories burnt with the neck going up and down.
Well, you know, if you could play that guitar while running around your place a few times, you know, get cardio. Hey, you know, try the Ramstein method, you know, just play a guitar on one of those little treadmill things there. So
I guess I could just, get my amp and just, practice jumping on and off them, and it's, sort of doing those step jumps.
Step jumps.
There you go, man. That'll do it. Yeah, like Buzz from Unearth. Some of those leaps that guy can do off his amps, man. That's some nutty action there.
What advice would you give to other artists or bands or crew that are struggling mentally? Because it's affecting a lot of people mentally, and I think it really comes down to how well you are equipped with your own personal mindset when it comes to dealing with hardships or catastrophes, and you can go either one way or the other. And obviously, like I said, you're very well adjusted and optimistic in so many ways and positive. So maybe some advice out there for those who are going to be watching the figuring out what they could be doing to help get them through some of these tough times that we're all going through.
Well, I guess first thing to do, grab that wrist, grab a razor blade, start a slicing. But no, people are talking about what the new normal is going to be, and we don't know what that is. But one thing I'm trying to keep in mind and keep a part of, like, this, whatever I write for myself, is that maybe that new normal is going to be something like new better or something. Like, I think this lockdown has showed a lot of people their own, I guess, character. And it's like, how are you going to deal with having a whole lot of your daily routines ripped from you, and you are forced to stay in one spot? You're there with your family, you're there with your significant other, you're there with your little wee ones or whatever you got. And I think a lot of people are starting to understand what is important in life. And I have a feeling, I could be dead wrong here, but I have a feeling that people are going to come out on the other side and like have a new semblance of how to be, and I'm not trying to get into some weird new age stuff or anything, but I do think that the everybody's had to, so you got to adjust, like you're not going to work. You're not doing anything other than the essential necessity. And so how are you going to adapt to that? Some people will be climbing the walls and going crazy and like, we're hearing how domestic violence is just not getting reported right now, because we're on this lockdown and people cannot get to the phone and say, look, shit's happening. So even that, I'm just hoping that people are going to start understanding how to adapt and how to move forward. And I don't know if it's going to be baby steps for people or if everybody's just going to kind of get in line. Fucking everybody figures everything out at the same rate. But there's going to be laggers, here in America. There are laggers, there are people that just don't know how to act or react or try to do something positive, but I try to maintain a pretty positive outlook on most things because I dwell on the negative. Yeah, we're all at home, but why go nuts about it? Me, I'm fortunate. I get to hang with my best friend, like Laura, and I get to do cool stuff. There's been no change in our home life. I'm lucky because when I'm at home, when I'm not on the road, I'm at home. I'm at home all the time. It's like she's used to that for giant stretches, and then she's used to me being gone. And then, there's that tiny little adjustment period for her, because she's like, dude, I had the place to myself for the last 2.5 months, man. Now you're going to invade here, So we get it all together super quick and everything's always fine. So I'm in a good space. I'm a very fortunate person that I get to share my lockdown with somebody whom I truly enjoy and love dearly. So I'm good, but I understand where people could be going nuts. I'm fortunate. I get to share my time with somebody. A lot of people get to, had to lock down and they're by themselves, nobody. So that's got to be challenging. And I can see where people would be going a little crazy, if you got yourself to deal with. I'm pretty good in isolation. I like myself. I'm pretty good company for myself, so I'm okay. Like when I'm on tour, I'm a hermit. I used to be one of those guys that would cruise around the town and catch everything and all that stuff. And these days, usually my days off on tour, where if we're in a hotel for a day or two or whatever, I'm getting biz done that I don't get to get done during the week of touring. So if we spend a day in a hotel or something, travel day or whatever, I'm usually taking care of biz. So my life isn't all that much different, really. So just don't get to play live shows or get paid. That's the thing. But I'll manage. I'll survive. I'll be okay.
Is there any word on a return of the Metalocalypse Death Clock series? I know, like I said, you did the one-off show, but I think it'd be a good time to bring it back somewhat.
I agree, and I tell you, it wasn't up to Brendan or myself losing the show. It kind of got the rug pulled out by the network, by I believe really just a single individual at the network, but that was the major string puller at the network. And I understand that he is now out of here. He's gone. So I've spoken, not really at length with Brendan about it, but Brendan has some ideas. He's not sure about the future, but we're both hoping, I'd love to take Death Clock on the road, do another few seasons, another couple albums, hit the road, go to places that enjoy Death Clock. God, that's, when I was in Australia last, a lot of people were asking, do you think you'll ever bring Death Clock down here? And I'm like, I hope so. That's cool.
So through this period of time, what's the biggest personal insight you've gained?
Oh, you got to hit us with a heavy question.
Damn right.
All the time. Personal insight. Well, I guess, here you are, Gene. You just got your livelihood taken from you. Do you want to curl up into fetal position, or are you going to ride it out like everybody else has to and find a way to thrive? And the way that I've been thriving through this is, taking care of the health, dropping another 20 pounds, all that sort of stuff. So that's my insight, is just that, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but when it comes to, I'm a cockroach, man. I can adapt and survive through anything. And that's just the way I feel. And so if I have any insights, I guess it was that one I shared earlier. Hopefully we're all going to come out on the other side of this where, there are no civil wars. There are beatings from the media and from our government and all this stuff about, trying to incite civil war to some degree, and it doesn't look like people are fighting, which that gives me, my little philosophy, I suppose, perhaps some credence that people are kind of figuring out, like, no, I'm not gonna arm myself and go shoot up things because I want this lockdown to be over. I'm gonna deal with it, and then when it's over, I'm gonna carry on as a productive citizen or something. But that's the best thing, that I feel is just, I do believe that people are starting to get to know themselves and get to know their partner. Like I say, I'm home 24/7 when I'm at home. A lot of people are, they work 8-10 hours a day. They see their significant other for a couple hours at night, share a quick meal, hit the bed, go to work the next day, and I'm always around. So Laura and I have learned to adapt years ago to Hogue being around all the time. So that's not too bad. It's just kind of same, keep the same pace going. So, but as for insights, maybe that one from earlier, just hopefully people are going to kind of learn a lot about themselves and understand how to be a better human being than they were going into it. I hope. We'll see. I'm hoping for it.
We're all hoping for it, and we're all hoping just to sort of get things back to, as I say, some new normal, which is I think for me personally, I've kept up a little bit with the news, but I've avoided a lot of it purely because it's just battering you with constant drama and negativity, and that's what its job is to do, to keep you there and entranced, and then
absolutely
fed with numerous commercials. So I just stay up to date on the basic stuff of when will international travel start so I can get the hell out of here, and when can shows recommence as well. So again, I totally get you with the attitude as just trying to be a better person. I hope that there will be some good out of this, especially for the environment. I'm seeing images from certain countries of just how much the air pollution has eased, and growth, and especially with the amount of planes, trains, automobiles, or whatever not running. It's really actually, well, hence the term, the big reset is kind of, I don't know if this is just Mother Nature just saying, look, I've had enough of you humans. We need to do something to reset our planet, and then hopefully it grows from here on. So yeah, it's all about optimism, Mr. Hoglan.
You're darn tootin'. Well, God, I was thinking for a minute there, I was like, wouldn't it be funny at the end of all of this if all the governmental leaders came to the populace and said, look, you people have been crabbing so much about this global warming and all that sort of stuff that this is the way, this fooled you, but we made you stay at home and we're getting the planet back working. Maybe I was stoned or something thinking that, but I thought wouldn't that be funny if...
Oh, there's plenty of conspiracy theories floating around, 5G is the reason why COVID was created. That's one of them.
I've read some of that.
There's a lot of stuff out there. It's
grasp, yeah, totally. But hey, we'll see what happens, and we're all looking forward to just whenever the future opens up, we're all looking forward to hitting the road again and doing some touring and putting out some more records, putting out some more music for everybody. That's why all us musicians are just like calling each other up, going, "Hey man, you want to jam on this song? You want to jam on that song?" And so that's, we got to just keep ourselves occupied to some degree. Absolutely.
Well, sounds like you've got your routine down, but it has been an absolute pleasure to, of course, chat with you as always, Gene, my brother.
Absolutely,
and
brother.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, man, and we'll keep doing what we can to support you as well. And can't thank you enough for your time.
Absolutely amazing, brother. Kick ass, brother. Well, hey, man.
I can see it in your eyes, yeah. I can dance the blood, alright. Yeah, it's got me shaking all over. And we gotta have fun, alright. So baby enough that you got to. Gotta lose it, alright. Yeah, the drinking got me thinking. They want you tonight, alright. I can see it in your eyes, yeah. And I see that sun, alright. Yeah, it's got me shaking all over. So bring it on, alright. So you know that you got down. Gotta loosen up, alright. Yeah, the drink is got me thinking. Do it to tonight, alright. Yeah, slip in and slide in, yeah. Above and grinding. A bigger submission, yeah, in a bigger four-leg. fall! May it fall!
Well, this is a part of the program now where we like to call Metal Homeschool, where we talk about some great bands that you might not have heard of before, bands that have split up, just bands you should check out because pretty much most of them would have most of their music online now. So we'll get Stephen to kick it off. What are we kicking off with?
Well, this is week 2, so we're up to the letter B. For those who are not familiar with the alphabet.
Of course.
But
B for brutal. What have we
B
got?
for brutal, B for black. And most people will be thinking Black Sabbath.
Yeah, boring. It would have been done.
It's been done a million times,
Yeah.
so we've got to talk about someone nobody's ever heard of, but are just as good, if not better.
School me up.
Can I be controversial?
Go
I'm
for
saying
it. You can.
I'm talking about Black Manta. Have you heard of Black Manta?
Briefly, but I know you've been raving about it for quite some time. So enlighten me. School me up.
Yes. So Black Manta were formed in Maryland about 20 years ago.
Yep.
They are the only band in the world that play bomb rock.
Bomb rock.
That's right.
Define bomb rock. Is this another subgenre?
It's a sub-genre.
Where the hell did bomb rock come from? I've not heard of bomb rock.
Well, it's just explosive. So for the
Bomb riffs.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the Invisible Oranges, but you're holding bombs, maybe.
What about invisible watermelons? That's even bigger.
Oh, yeah, like a missile or something.
So bomb rock. Tell me, Black Manta.
Yeah. So for the uninitiated, you'd probably call it stoner rock or doom metal or just hard rock.
Yep.
And very obscure, and there's a good reason because they haven't released a lot in 20 odd years that they've been kicking around.
So they're one of those cult bands with a K.
Very much.
Okay.
So they did appear on a couple of obscure or relatively obscure compilation albums. So of course, those who are in the younger generations may not be familiar with comps, but they did appear on those. Their first recording was actually a demo, and I have an original from the singer Skull. I don't know if they ever actually put out a proper release of their demo. I know that there were, I think, 100 cassettes and 100 in red.
Well, cassettes is now cult, so that's come back.
Yep.
Many formats, absolutely. That's the greatest thing about being a metal fan. Formats have not died. If anything, they've been revived. Vinyl, obviously cassettes now, there's a cult following with that. CDs still, some of them are fetching for massive dollars on Discogs. So you're holding some Black Manta history. But define the bomb rock. I know you said it's kind of doom, hard rock sort of thing, but vocally, is it... can you pinpoint any other bands that you think they kind of have some inspiration from?
Well, Hillel, the guitarist, was obviously influenced heavily by Black Sabbath.
Yep.
And Fu Manchu, you love Fu Manchu, speaking of the devil behind you.
Yep.
So you'll hear that in some of their influences. The singer Skull was very into Rush, and they actually have a song called Rush as well.
Yeah.
And I read online in one of the comments that someone compared him to Glenn Danzig. Now, I don't really hear that.
Unless he's 3 foot tall.
He's a bit taller.
Yeah, okay.
But their demo is incredible. I think it was only recorded on 8-track, but it's like one of my all-time favorite albums. It's just incredible.
And they're active. Are they still active now? They're still putting out new music? Can you give us up to date on where to find their music?
Well, I've just about updated on all the music they've released, mate. There's only one more to go.
I think you've got it all.
Yeah, so the only other thing they've put out is this EP, and this is the only sort of official release that they've ever put out. This was with Joe Hasselvander, of course, X-Raven and Pentagram and many other bands on drums. So that's pretty much it. They're basically cryogenically frozen and come out of hibernation once every 5 years to play a live gig. And that's about it. They're a mystery trapped in a riddle and an enigma and all that kind of stuff. So, but just incredible riffs. So their music's online, so check it out.
Black Manta, Schooled.
When I joined the band, there was Mike Dunnigan on guitar, Sean Dunnigan on drums, and me on the bass, and we had a singer. So before that, though, there was a Carlos Eggy, on drums, and actually right before me, Sean Dunnigan. I guess he was playing bass at that time, with Mike Dunnigan on guitar, as well as Mike Ball, which was really important because they were writing the cool classics of the first album. You know, like songs like Suicidal Failure and I Saw Your Mommy and stuff like that. And then I joined the band in '81. There was still Mike Dunnigan, Sean Dunnigan, and then kind of a little bit after that, I forgot what happened. They were out of the band. They were out of the band. But they were the ones that kind of taught me how to write the punk rock, because I was listening to what they were doing. Hence, I Saw Your Mommy and Suicidal Failure, which were big songs for me at the time, to help me out. Then we had me, Mike Dunnigan, Sean on drums, and a singer. I think I already said that. So soon after that, they were gone. A sister of ours that used to hang out with us in our clique, Dominique Smith, she had her brother Amory Smith, who's supposedly a serious drummer, took it serious, and he was into Rush. And they were from like Playa del Rey or Westchester area. And so I checked him out. We had to practice at his house. He already had a rehearsal studio there, so I just took my bass amp there and left it there because he got the gig the first day. It was badass. And then we needed a guitar player, and I went back and I enlisted Grant Estes. He started playing with us. He's the guy that plays with us at the Rollerworks. And so the Rollerworks show that's on YouTube that you can see, and that was the lineup for the album. And we were at that point, there's two guitar players on stage. My buddy Rick Batson, who's in Bali now, and he was a guitar player before Grant, but he was just in for a smidgen of a time. And so that show was the passing of the torch. We opened up for Minor Threat, which was epic for me, and Channel 3. I think 7 seconds maybe. And the album came out, bang bing, it's a hit. Emery's out of the band, that's another story. And Grant Estes was out of the band. Grant, I believe right after we recorded that, I remember to this day the words he said was, I washed my hands with the recording we just did and I'm out of the band. He wanted experience for himself to be in a studio, which he got a good experience. We did the first Suicidal Tendencies album.
Innocent talk. He was an all-American born. He's a wizard on a wheel in mind, yeah, he got no fear, so he's scared. Don't understand what he wanna want. Ain't got time to sit and die. Used to be just like you and me. Leaving up society, be where he wants us to stay. And the skates get radical.
And we're back. It is the Riff Crew. Welcome to episode number 2. You're with hosts Andrew Hogan, of course, Stephen Mitchell. How goes it, Mr. Mitchell? What's been happening with your world apart from Metal 24/7, as we always seem to do? But I'm sure you've had some other activities amongst that time.
Well, just while we were watching that last clip, I just went outside and did some jumping jacks. I was pumped up by Gene to get into fitness. So yeah.
Yeah, Hoglan's a man. I mean, yeah, he's an absolute master when it comes to maintaining his health, and a very big inspiration as well. But let's talk about inspiration. We're talking about the mighty Abramelin, one of the greatest Australian heavy metal bands in my little metal opinion. And it's been 20 years since we had a new record from this group. It's quite unbelievable that the time's gone that damn quick. But what a record. The new album is called Never Enough Snuff. We are joined by frontman Simon Dower and, of course, Riff Meister Tim Aldridge on the program. Welcome, lads.
Thank you very much. G'day, Stephen.
So, like I said, 20 years between records and drinks. It's quite, I mean, again, where the hell has it gone, the time? But as far as the quality and the output of this band's latest album is just beyond comprehension. Where did it come from?
Years of riffs that I've been storing away and working on. Always wanted to get it going again, and life takes over and other things happen. And finally, we got together again. We got big kicks in the bums from each other, and here it is.
And as you mentioned about Riff sort of kicking around, I mean, was the band completely dissolved, or was it just on a hiatus? Because I know you put out the Transgressing the Afterlife box set a couple of years back, but apart from any other sort of new music output, there kind of wasn't really anything until this amount of time. Did you try and sort of resurrect the group, Tim, during the last decade, I guess, in some ways of saying, hey, let's try and get another album out?
Yeah. Well, sort of, it all started, I met Dave Haley for the first time in 2008, and I was a big fan of his. And he just said to me, come on, man, get it going again. I want to drum for you. So he really got the ball rolling. And I was just catching up with Simon very randomly, a year later, here, there, and everywhere at some shows. And I kept putting it to him, and he's going, oh, yeah, let me think about it. And then after we did the Central Media thing, we got a bit more serious about thinking, let's get this thing happening again.
I know that you ended up doing a couple of these sort of comeback shows a few years ago. There was the Metal for Melbourne benefit sort of show or something like that, and you've done a couple of shows since. How was that, just getting back out there again, especially for you, Simon, as well?
It was pretty wild. I think not so much that very first show, because I think we were a little bit more excited by then about the prospect of the whole thing, but I think the most nerve-wracking thing for me was that very first rehearsal. After having such a long time off in between, screaming, and how my throat was going to go was a really big one, because you can only scream so much in the shower, or and other drivers while you're driving around or whatever. I mean, it's something that when I do it, I have to deliver it live, and I have to have the backing of the whole band behind me. So it was. Yeah, those first couple of rehearsals really hurt my throat. But then, of course, once we got back into the swing of things, it was fine. And then by the time we got to the Metal for Melbourne benefit gig, and we pulled that off, and that, went off absolutely awesome. And then it was, we just, felt pretty comfortable after that, ready to roll back on with things.
And were you surprised that people were still interested in the group? Because we know attention spans are so short today, and people just can forget, and people move on. But a lot of the music that you guys have put out, especially in the Australian scene, it still stands up, and people are still fans of it. And, to retain that sort of attention and also have people still want to see you guys finally live was an awesome feat to watch, because I was obviously at that show. Around that show, were you thinking, we should start writing new music, or was it just, let's just do a couple of shows and see what happens?
I think it was more the let's get this out of the way and then we'll see what happens type scenario. But like, as soon as we did it and we got that reaction from the crowd, which I thought it was going to be good, but I didn't expect anything like that. Like the crowd just went fucking crazy. You know, I hadn't seen anything like that at a show for a while. It was like full mosh pit, stage diving. It was like, wow. And I think we like pretty much just got off stage and looked at each other and went, we're touring. And it was on. Actually, we had already booked that very first show at Northcote Social Club to do our first solo thing, but it was, that was going to be an indicator for things to come. And then after that, it was like, yeah, let's just do it.
Yeah.
And Tim, with your, Riff catalog, as you were saying, I mean, were you contemplating just going to continue the band without Simon and sort of, because I know when we had that discussion about the Transgressing the Afterlife box set a few years ago, you said you never split up; it just sort of stopped. And were you thinking, well, okay, Simon's doing other things, and the rest of the group are off doing other stuff as well, and you being the main songwriter of the riffs. Yeah. Were you starting to think, I wouldn't mind continuing the band and maybe finding other members if the guys were keen about that? Because it seemed like you were the one that was really trying to keep it alive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I even spoke to Simon and we discussed it. And I think way back when we were organising the Central Media thing, I don't know if you remember, Simon, I did say I want you to do it. I mean, geez, I wouldn't want anyone else but Simon singing.
Yeah, of course.
But it was like, I've got these songs, I really want to get them out. I want to do it as Abramelin, and he gave me his blessing. But then I think he got really excited about it too. And yeah, I don't know, Simon, do you want to come in on that one?
Yeah, I think it was the break, as we said, it was just pretty much a hiatus, and it was done very organically. We just went our separate ways. There was no animosity. There was no. We didn't even say let's take a break. We just took a break. So it was obviously meant to be. And the timeout, I think, was a really good thing because I do believe that we have come back, I'm going to say musically more mature, probably not mature within ourselves.
Not mentally.
Before. So look, it's definitely had a very, very positive impact on the band having that time out. And absolutely fantastic having Rob back on board, this time on bass rather than guitar. And he was, extremely important role to play in help bringing the band back together again.
Yeah, definitely.
For the Metal for Melbourne thing, I mean, he was, responsible for putting that show on, and he was the one who reached out and really pulled the band together. So hats off to Rod. Unbelievable having Dave on drums.
Master Blaster.
Yeah, I'd not heard of Dave before, or even heard of Psychroptic really. And then when we started getting in the rehearsal studio, I was like, holy shit.
Well, I mean, you look at his history. He's been highly influenced by, Psychroptic have been heavily influenced by the sounds of Abramelin and Damaged, big time. So I know that he's a sort of a kid in a candy store now, playing with some of his favourite bands that he grew up on and was inspired by. So I'm sure that's definitely given you guys more of a kick, knowing that this guy's behind the kit just blasting Humble Abode and loving every second.
We've got a funny anecdote when we do live shows and people come up and approach us and go, I was too young when you guys toured last time and I never got to see you and you're my favourite band and I finally get to see you. And I'm like, well, spare a thought for Dave. Abramelin was always his favourite band. He never got to see us play live and now he never will.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, poor Dave. Last but not least, I wanted to massive shout out to Matty Wilcock, who was once again, amazing to have him back on the guitar. We had Matty playing with us on the Dead Speak tour, all just before we went on break. And I mean, Christ, he was a good guitarist then, but a decade or so overseas, and he's come back even more talented when he left. And also to actually, it's the having him contribute a song on Never Enough Snuff to the Peeler, which is one of his. So,
given you guys were, well, I guess, in hiatus for such a long time, was there any particular event or trigger that was like, yeah, let's get the band back together, let's start playing shows?
Playing in the Berserker, getting overseas and touring overseas, and immediately I was just like, I want to be doing this, but I want to be doing it with my band, I want to do it with my songs. And then joining the Amenta after that, going over to Europe, I want to do it with my band, I want to do it with my songs. And that was just always kept me fired up and wanted to get it back together and go again.
And with these ideas and riffs, how old are some of these songs? I mean, obviously, you know, Tim, you're the one who was storing them in your riff vault.
Yeah.
I'm sure some of these are been around for a while, these riffs, but how did you, you know, go about reigniting them? And or was some of these songs already sort of written in demo form, but sort of sitting on the back burner for however long?
Yeah, some of the tracks, I actually finally got them, all the arrangements and everything done and put to clicks in about 2011.
Wow.
Was when I probably got about easily half the songs together. I did have, I think, 11 songs, but I've sort of added more, dropped a few, taken some bits of others, done some rearranging and stuff to get this album together. And so there's still a lot more, there's still quite a few more songs in the bank, but we just didn't have enough room, obviously, to fit them all on one album.
Where do you think the band would have been today if you hadn't have taken a break for this long?
Silence. I have no idea.
Crickets.
I don't know. It's an interesting question. I don't know because it's I suppose after Dead Speak things were really firing up, and it could have gone a lot further. There was, I don't know. It's too hard to say. It's one of those sort of hindsight things that you're like, oh, could have, couldn't have, but yeah, it just didn't happen. So it's a little bit hard to say, but I am very pleased that we have, come through with Never Enough Snuff, and I feel like that we've, taken that next step that we wanted to, I think we needed to do as a progression from Dead Speak. And it was so nice to do an album with a full band and a full band of talented people.
Yeah.
Rather than,
I also feel that we are sort of in the era of massive opportunity, and it really doesn't matter how long you've been around or how long in between, drinks it's been for releases. You have the availability now to reach people anywhere across the globe. So it almost gives, I guess, bands like yourselves somewhat of a rebirth for those who might not have heard of you guys before. It almost feels like it just doesn't matter if you've had such a long career. You got new people, new fans rediscovering the group that makes it therefore a new band in so many ways. So do you find that there's a bit more optimism knowing that there's a better future out there? And again, it's all really down to marketing too today. We know about that because there are more bands than ever before. But, do you guys feel a bit more optimistic about where you can possibly take this, considering now there's options of not so much touring, you can do live streams and all different types of opportunities to tap into?
Yes, do you want to take that for a start? I mean, like I say, look, with the internet the way it is, we never had the internet when we were originally going together, We couldn't put a song up online and then watch it and see.
We didn't have electricity.
We had no water.
Sorry, Tim, go.
I've lost my place now. Go and take over.
No, it is. Look, it's a very different beast now to what it used to be. I mean, like, Jesus, when we were doing shows back, like, right back in the day, I mean, okay, let's go back even like for marketing in general, for when we were doing our, early releases and stuff. Everything was like done via snail mail, and they're just doing photocopies of your flyers and shoving it inside packages and sending it off to people. Our live shows were done by like, whatever street posters we had in the area, an ad in street press, and maybe an ad or two on local radio stations to try and get the word out. But ironically, we probably had more people at the shows back then than you have at the shows now. Yeah,
that's what's changed. Absolutely. You can have so many virtual fans versus reality fans. That's what's changed a lot, and I think we're going to see a massive change now, considering what we're all sort of going through in this current state of circumstances across the globe. But again, giving the chance that there are other options to reach people, because people might not want to leave their homes as much now once this whole thing blows over. They're creating a new habit, a new comfortability, and there's still another opportunity to say, you know what, instead of touring, let's just set up a rehearsal room, get a bunch of cameras, as bands are doing now anyway, and boom. Yeah. I've watched a couple of live streams online, and bang, there's like 5,000 fans watching on YouTube across the world. You just think, wow. In reality, you'd probably, most bands wouldn't pull anywhere near that, but it's like a newfound opportunity. It's a psychological approach. I think bands have to sort of get their head around it, because the opportunities are pretty massive.
I think it is psychological from that point of view too. I mean, going in and doing a rehearsal when it's just us is one thing, but the energy that comes from doing a live show where you're actually like looking at people in the face and you've got that bouncing back towards you, it's you can't beat that.
Absolutely.
it'd be to. I know, like I'm a personal trainer, and I've been stuck doing Zoom calls like so many other PTs have at the moment, and it's okay. You got through your routine and everything, but it's not the same as having a live group in front of you, and I can see that without the the heads flying around and the smell of the pub and the everything else going on. It'd be pretty hard to emulate that when it's just in a rehearsal studio with us at a bloody 1.5.
I know. Well, that's the problem, though. We're at a point where we just don't know how far this is going to go and what will be in the next year and a half. They're saying that shows might not start until another year and a bit. And then there's going to be that distancing factor, and it's going to drive more people away from sort of getting close to each other because, you might have something. And it's like... yeah, it just makes you sort of, at the same time, you're forced to think outside the box of, okay, we can't really have what we want exactly, which is a proper live show, but all right, we can look into the streaming thing and create another option. And I mean, we had Gene Hoglan on the show before talking a bit about, he's doing heaps of stuff. He's always sort of been ahead of the curve with certain things anyway. So he's like, it's just business as usual for him. He does miss touring and live shows like all of us do, because that really is the main place to connect. But we are forced into a position where we have to look for other options as much as we probably don't like them, or they won't be anywhere near as good as what we're used to. So live streaming Aldridge guitar lessons. What do you reckon?
Someone's got to teach me how to play first.
I think you'll be right, Tim.
Yeah, right.
I mean, given before this whole COVID garbage, did you guys have plans for a tour later this year with this record? Because we hope that this doesn't sort of get blown over with live shows not happening for a while. But was there plans of a tour? Wow.
Yeah, look, we didn't have shows booked as such, but it was always going to be, as soon as the album came out, we were like straight into it.
Yeah.
And but then when all of that started happening, I mean, that was just before download was supposed to happen. So yeah, poor Dave got pretty screwed over because the Carcass touring, which was going to do like national and do download as well. So that was pretty shit house. And then of course it impacted on us straight away, but with so many other things too, like and we were also about to do our very first video clip, which we were so excited about. And then that was literally the week of, we were booked in to do it, and then it was just like, nah. I was like, fuck. So yeah, these things happen.
Yeah.
Now, I'll start with you, Tim. Death metal. What is the one album only, a death metal go-to for you album?
Aldridge Madness, Morbid Angel.
Okay, and give us a reason why. Best band ever.
Best band ever?
Yeah.
That album changed death metal. That album changed metal. It was a different approach. It was more interesting. It was riffs that people hadn't even thought of, sounds that people hadn't thought of, grooves. It just has everything. Ferocious playing, evil, just the sense of evil about the whole album. Yeah. What more do you want out of death metal?
I think you've hit the nail on the head, but we'll go with you, Simon. One death metal album, your go-to album.
Well, Tim stole mine, so I'm gonna... No, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about it while he was talking. It's fucking so many good ones out there, but I'm going to go a slightly more obscure one that was always a favourite for me back in the day that I absolutely loved, and that was Carnage, Dark Recollection.
Yeah. That's right. Michael Amott from Arch Enemy. That was his group he had going before that.
The riffs on that album, it was just riff after riff after riff of just goodness, like that whole, just encapsulated everything for us, I think, in the early days of what we really loved out of that sound that was coming out of Europe. Yeah. And that album had it for me. It was like every track the winner album.
Straight out of Sunlight Studios, Thomas Skogsberg. He was like the Scott Burns of Sweden, because everyone went to him, and Nihilist, Dismember, Entombed. I mean, boy, we can go down the rabbit hole on this topic.
A lot of those bands that you just mentioned, and Grave and so on and so forth, that I think was the driving force of the sound for Abramelin in the early days, more so than anything coming out of the US. I mean, I know for me personally, I was like just far more captivated with what was happening in Europe than what was happening in the US. No offense to the US, it's just that's what I'd honed in on, and that's what had my attention. And I think, and I'm going to say, probably speaking for you too, Tim, because I think it did shape our sound a lot in the early days.
Well, it's been an awesome time to chat with you guys, and of course, hats off for such an amazing record. I mean, I was just floored. Not that I knew I wasn't going to be, but just the fact that it was 2020 and bang, in the inbox, here's a new Abramelin record. I was like, Jesus. And yeah, like I said, I used to go see you guys back in the day when you were under the name Archeron or Asheron, whichever way others want to pronounce it. And just to have a brand new record from you guys, it literally does feel like time has stood still, but there is also a progression to the band's sound at the same time. It just does not feel like 20 years at all. So I wish you all the best for the future, and let's hope this whole thing lifts very soon so we can get out and see you guys do some shows.
Right. Thanks so much, mate.
And speaking of shows, if you think back early in your career, around the early 90s, you know, shows at the Corner Hotel, do you ever recollect any underage patrons sneaking in the back door, hiding behind beers by any chance?
I remember losing a pig's head under the stage at that particular show. He's still thawing out, I think.
Stephen alluding to the fact that me, my twin brother Paul, Tony Bloodduster, and Jason Fuller, who of course at the time didn't even have Bloodduster formed, we would sneak in when you guys would load in the back door of the Corner, sit in the back, and then someone would be putting on some metal videos on the screen, sort of just huddle around our beers and hope security didn't see us. And then, because every Friday it used to be Archeron, Damnatory, and Christbait, pretty much the same lineup, week on week, month on month, and you know that was some good days. So, thanks, Stephen.
Good time.
So who took the pig's head?
Yeah, who did take the pig's head? I have no idea.
I bought the pig's head in.
Under the stage. I think it left there. It was stuck there for maybe a month. Until someone
it wouldn't have smelled real good the second day, let alone after a few weeks.
Brutal. almost at the end of the program, but one thing I want to enlighten some people. In the days of radio, which I have a background in, record companies would always send you little toys and little trinkets to promote bands' records, and that's what they would call, promo items. And some of these items would fetch massive dollars on eBay. And you'd get all kinds of weird, obscure ones. And this is one I want to show from my personal collection. I remember I received this from the label, and I thought to myself, Iced Earth letter opener. It was a bit sort of, okay, what do I do with this? Do I stab? It was quite bizarre. So you're going to be seeing more of these little trinkets that I've kept in my collection over the years of just really weird letter openers. Because I don't recall an Iced Earth album that had anything to do with the word letter. Because usually they have an item that is something to do with the album. And I just don't recall anything that kind of resembled what this promo item is. Iced Earth letter opener. So there's
the only thing I can think of is it looks like an ice pick, but it's clearly not an ice pick.
Well, there is a band called Ice Pick, of course, Jamie Jarser from Hatebreed's project number 50. So there you go, Iced Earth letter opener. Whatever you need to do with that, hopefully not kill anybody.
And
so
how heavy is that?
It's pretty heavy, actually. You want to show that to the camera? I mean, that would not pass through customs. If someone saw that on eBay, there is no way that would get through customs, especially today. So maybe I'm holding a massive gem, unless anyone wants to make an offer.
Yeah, if you were in a Norwegian black metal band and you had a fallout with a member who threatened to kill you, do you think this would come in handy?
It probably would. Because being so cult, they would probably tape up Iced Earth because it's not brutal enough. Therefore, they'd say it's poser metal. So, there you go for our little weird promo item of this episode. But I will be bringing out more useless trinkets over the course of this season.
And speaking of just random stuff, I forgot to mention when we had the Metal Homeschool is this disc here. So this is a side project a couple of the guys out of Black Manta called Triangle. I think there's only 3 copies in the world.
You're kidding.
That's
hence
right.
the logo on the disc, Triangle.
Yes. So, but it sounds nothing
like... Sounds nothing like Black Manta?
So it sounds nothing like them.
Wow.
So there you go. Completely useless information.
You'll be hearing plenty of that on this program.
Get